Live from Waterford and Dungarvan, this is Waterford at 1 News.
Good afternoon, I'm Liz Reddy. Today's top stories. Grace O'Sullivan will have to wait a bit longer to see if she'll take the so-called Brexit seat in the European elections. Waterford Fianna Fáil TD Mary Butler says it's concerning only 2% of apprenticeships in Ireland are undertaken by women. Preparations are continuing for the Day Tripper Music Festival, which takes place in Waterford City this weekend. And in sport, Waterford and Limerick gearing up for a crucial Munster Hurling Championship clash on Sunday. A recheck is now continuing in the Ireland South constituency. Sinn Féin's Leah Narita made the call late last night after finishing around 300 votes behind the Green Party's Grace O'Sullivan from Waterford. Sean Kelly and Billy Kelleher have already been elected, with Mick Wallace and Deirdre Clune expected to take up a seat in Brussels. A recheck of the bundles of votes is now taking place before a full recount of all 750,000 votes, expected to start on Tuesday. Grace O'Sullivan says the transfer of votes made all the difference.
It is stressful in that it would have been great to walk home with that fifth place, but it's just not to be. And in the end, you know, the voters voted, the transfers have passed. It's been very interesting to see how the transfers have crossed, and, you know, a lack of pattern in a sense.
Grace's sister, Waterford Fine Gael councillor Lola O'Sullivan, says if the result had been the other way around, the Green Party would certainly be looking for a recount.
The margin in this case is so small, 300 odd votes. It would have been natural for them to go for a recount, and to be perfectly honest, had Grace been in the same situation, the Green Party would have looked for a recount anyway. When we were talking last night, I was saying to her, you know, even if it's the other way around and it looks like that you're losing by 300 votes, you will be going for a recount one way or the other.
A result of the vote recheck in Ireland South is expected this afternoon. Stephen Murphy reports from Cork.
Bundle by bundle, the count staff are going through every vote for Sinn Féin's Leah Narita and the Green Party's Grace O'Sullivan. There's only 327 votes separating them in the race for the last seat. Fine Gael Sean Kelly and Fianna Fáil's Billy Kelleher have already been elected, with independent Mick Wallace and Fine Gael's Deirdre Clune also expected to become MEPs. The recheck is to make sure every vote is in the right place. Leah Narita's have been looked at, and only one vote was found to be in the wrong bundle. Once Grace O'Sullivan's votes are checked, it'll then be up to either party to decide whether they'll push ahead with calls for a full recount. Chris O'Leary is an advisor to Leah Narita's campaign.
The probability, because the percentages are so low, and I think all parties are in agreement, they would call for a recount from what we gather, and that's a full recount. We haven't made that decision up yet.
Ed Davitt is Grace O'Sullivan's campaign manager.
We're hoping that there's no change after this next round, that Sinn Féin will decide that it's not worth their time or ours to continue on. I mean, obviously we can completely understand their position.
The full recount, if it goes ahead, isn't expected to start until Tuesday, and with less staff available, it could take up to 28 days to complete. Stephen Murphy in Cork.
Waterford Fianna Fáil TD Mary Butler says it's concerning that only 2% of apprenticeships in Ireland are undertaken by women. That's according to a new report by the Oireachtas Committee on Business, which recommends an overhaul of legislation for apprenticeships. The document also finds very few disabled people and travellers are undertaking apprenticeships. Committee chairperson Mary Butler says the findings about women were of most concern.
We were actually appalled to discover that only 2% of apprenticeships in Ireland are undertaken by women. We heard from a very interesting young lady who decided to become an apprentice with ESB 4 years ago, and she is now at 23 years of age a qualified electrician. But I was shocked to hear that out of a class of 200, only 5 young girls put their name forward.
Family of Siobhan Carney say they're horrified at the thought of her murderer being allowed out of jail. Her husband, Brian Carney, serving a life sentence for strangling his wife at their home in 2006 and attempting to make it look like suicide. The parole board says he's being considered for visits with his family. Siobhan's sister, Bridget McLaughlin, says that he's beyond redemption.
We knew that the parole was coming up. My sister Deirdre is involved in that. Deirdre found all the information. She had the letter, but in the letter, which we're delighted to get, if we didn't know about this temporary release to visit families, this is something new to us that we never, ever in our wildest dreams would have thought that he would be allowed out to see family. It's immoral.
Criminal investigation has been launched after a sightseeing riverboat capsized in the Hungarian capital Budapest. 7 people have died and at least 20 others remain missing. 35 people were on board, 2 crew members and 33 South Korean tourists, the youngest of which is believed to be a 6-year-old girl. The double-decker boat was hit by another tourist vessel on the Danube River. In business news, the Sands Hotel in Tramore in County Waterford reopens this week. The 20-bedroom 3-star hotel exchanged hands for more than €600,000 this spring. It's one of several new ventures opening in the seaside town. Neil Kelly is from the Sands.
The Causeway Group have acquired the Sands Hotel and the Shanty, which has been opened a few times, and they've done a massive job on it. So we've 23 bedrooms opening this weekend. The Shanty bar and late bar opens as well, and you've got other offerings which will be opening in the next few weeks in that actual complex. So you've another restaurant going in where the off licence was, and yeah, absolutely, Tramore is on the up, as they say, you know.
He says other restaurants and shops are opening in the area too.
Across from us, you have a new restaurant which is opened, which is called The Ranch. It's a pizza and burger offering. You've Aldi who's opening. You've got Seamus Walsh from Waterford Castle who's opening the Waterfront, which is an amazing outdoor terrace looking over the bay. You've got so many places opening in Tramore. It's great, and new offerings coming on stream every day out there. And Tramore is on the up. It's great to see buildings opening rather than close, you know.
Preparations are continuing for the Day Tripper Music Festival, which takes place in Waterford City this weekend. Headliners over the 3 nights include Gavin James on Saturday night, Madness on Sunday, and tomorrow night the 48-piece RTE Concert Orchestra will take to the stage, accompanied by DJ Jenny Green. Promoter Mick O'Keefe says it will be a spectacle.
We have the stage set up since last night, so all the PA video lights coming in today, so it's going to be an absolute spectacular. We've the biggest video screen ever erected in the city. That's coming particularly as part of the RTE orchestra setup. It's the biggest stage that we've ever had because there's 50 of them to be seated on risers as they play with Jenny. A lot more work in setting it up this year, but it's going to look absolutely fantastic.
Mick says tomorrow night looks like being one of the best shows they've put on so far.
Well, I think tomorrow's going to be special because, you know, I think it's been the biggest selling show around the country the last few years. You've got all the huge dance music classics with the full orchestra done out in their tuxedos, the big screen, the whole spectacle. And we have a surprise which we can't say anything about it, but they're going to do something for the first time tomorrow with a special guest. So that's going to be exciting. So I'd recommend anyone that was into club music in the 90s, just get down. It's an absolutely phenomenal show.
WLR Sport.
Thanks to Boland's Hyundai Waterford. Preview the award-winning 192 Hyundai range. See bolands.com.
Very good afternoon, I'm Gavin. Whelan. Gaelic Games first, and Waterford and Limerick are gearing up for a vital game in the Munster Hurling Championship on Sunday afternoon. Both sides will be seeking their first win of the round-robin campaign when they clash at Walsh Park, following back-to-back defeats to Clare and Tip. The Dacia know there's no room for further error. All-Ireland champions Limerick will also be keen to improve from their defeat to Cork last time out. 5-time All-Star John Whelan feels that Waterford must up their work rate to match the Shannonsiders.
What I'm kind of actually fed up the last week or two is hearing that the players, they should be playing this system, they should be playing that system, and they're doing this under Derek and that under that Derek. It's a load of SHIT if you ask me, Tomas. I mean, at the end of the day, you can play whatever system you want, you can go out whatever tactics you want. The main thing you have to do is you have to, go back to the old values of you have to win as much ball as the man you're on, and collectively as a group. If you've 11 or 12 lads or 10 lads that can go out and achieve that on the day, win more ball than the opponent, and if you can go and outwork the opposition 9 times out of 10, you'll win the matches.
John says Limerick will come with a massive challenge.
I think going into Sunday's game, Limerick are going to come down and they're going to come out with some manic aggression, a lot of physicality, and Waterford have got to be ready, and they've got to go toe to toe and match them and try and win their matchups on Sunday.
Throw-in is at 2. The game will be broadcast live on WLR thanks to George Corbett Skoda, with commentary team Kieran O'Connor and Fergal Hartley. It'll be preceded by the clash of Waterford and Limerick in the Munster Minor Hurling Championship, with that one underway at 12 noon. Tomas McCarthy will keep us updated here on WLR. Soccer, and Eden Hazard has strongly hinted his 2-goal performance in Chelsea's 4-1 Europa League win over Arsenal will be his final appearance for the club. After lifting the trophy in Baku, the Belgian said, "I think it's a good boy, but in football you never know." He's expected to join Real Madrid this summer. star. Chelsea manager Maurizio Sarri says he has nothing but respect for the forward.
As you know, Hazard is a wonderful player, but I knew that Adam wanted to leave. But as I said in every press conference, I want to respect his decision.
Next to news of athletics, and Waterford's Thomas Barr returns to competitive action this evening. With the details, here's Fintan Walsh.
Thomas Barr has a second race of the season in Stockholm at the Diamond League meeting this evening. Again, it's a top-class 400-metre hurdles, and among his opponents will be Karsten Warholm from Norway, current world and European champion. Thomas has a nice draw in lane 5, and he will be hoping to put up another good show, as he did in Doha last week when third. The race is timed for 8:52 p.m. Fintan Welch for WLR Sport.
Thanks indeed for that, Fintan. And meanwhile, also this evening there's a local fixture in Dungarvan. The Eurofins Waterford Primary Schools finals take centre stage in St Augustine's College, with proceedings underway there at 6:30. To news of golfer, Rory McIlroy and Tiger Woods are part of a star-studded field at golf's Memorial Tournament. 7 of the world's top 10 players feature in Ohio at the Jack Nicklaus host event. Justin Rose will have a new caddy after his long-time bagman was forced to take an indefinite break following heart surgery, while Leona Maguire and Stephanie Maydown are in action later on day 1 of the US Women's Open in South Carolina. Racing then, finally there's action here at home in Limerick, where the action is underway at 5 to 5 this evening, while today's card at Fairy House begins at 5:15. Sports news brought to you by Boland's Waterford.